the presentation by God grace. So in the next 4 minutes, we should start. So we should have a little bit patient for others to join. 1 more minute. Thank you so much for coming here. Hello, you are all welcome to today's episode of the webinar on climate change and health. Before we commence the presentation, I hereby welcome the President of Apri Health, LC Chokoli Molwadi, and every executive board member here present, and the attendees and other supporting staff of the Apri Health. You are all welcome. You are all welcome to this episode of the webinar on climate change and health of the Apri Health. Yeah, can you all hear me, Dr. Nasir? Are you on board and available?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, very good. So my name's Dr. Umar Ibrahim from Public and Environmental Health Department, Federal University Dutse in Jigawa State, Nigeria. Today we shall be discussing on air quality status in Nexus for climate change, effect, and health. Our resource person here will be in the person of Dr. Nasir Hassan, a regional advisor, air pollution, environmental health, and chemical safety, Department of Healthcare Population and Non-Communicable Diseases, WHO Regional Office for Southeast Asia. So he's from Asia, and today his topic of discussion is bringing the benefit of clean air for human and climate health. So Dr. Nasir will be discussing for about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe up to 25 minutes, depending on what time allowed. And then thereafter, we should attend the questions thereafter, and then we allowed the senior executive officers of the Apple Health to make comments, and then before we departed. Thank you very much. Dr. Nasir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Umar. And what time is at your place now? Because it is 6:30 evening here in New Delhi. So I wish you all good evening, probably good afternoon to friends and colleagues down there. My apology that first my French is totally out. So I'm not able to speak French and definitely not be able to answer any question raised in French. So I can always only converse and then discuss and make presentation in English. So let me start my sharing my presentation first. Can you see the screen now, Dr. Umar?
Yes, it's clear.
Right.
It's clear.
So it's just that my presentation is to how do you want to bring? I mean, how probably looking for experts in Africa to look into bringing these two, climate change and air. How does one working closely to make sure that this is beneficial to health, to human health, and so on and so forth. So it will take about 15 minutes, and then please tell me, Dr. Umar, if I won't be able to meet the time. So just tell me that if I need to stop anytime. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Right. So these are the few things that I want to share with you. So I don't want to elaborate. It's just that I don't want to start straight to the air and the climate change and health. But I want to share with you, there is a big professor by the name of Professor Yung Chul Hong. He is, I know him many years, and he is working at the Seoul National University in Korea. And he published a book in Korean language, The Origin of Diseases. But I think the demand or the response to that book was so nice or so great that he also published this book in English. So what he was arguing with the fact that whatever, I mean, from the earliest age of human, that we easily can adapt to any changes, like so. So adaptation was part of our natural systems in our body system. But then when over the years, because we were able to find our gene or the DNA has been adapting and then changing and then so on and so forth. But over the years, as population grow and then our activities also went out of really moving, especially after Industrial Revolution, the environment changed. And in his book, The Origin of Disease, he mentioned that when the environmental change occur too fast, the gene cannot catch up. And this is where we are talking about sickness. And then the gap between environmental change and the time required for the gene to adapt to change the environment is too big. So our health fails when the gene is unable to maintain the state optimized for the changed environment. And I think this is where we evolve ourselves from communicable disease, and now the era of non-communicable disease, NCD. And then we keep on asking is what's next after this, because this is where Professor Hong discussed. And I suggest you guys, Dr. Umar and colleagues in Africa probably should invite Professor Hong just to discuss about this book about the origin of disease and how he interacts. So nowadays, and this is not new, we saw so many of these disease issues, infectious disease, and then many of the NCD that is a plague, is like everywhere, every country, every region is we are facing with a huge impacts caused by the non-communicable disease. So the question is that the NCD itself, is it very much related to the gene or the risk factors other than environment, or the environment itself? And this is where the debate. And then start coming to our discussion lately. They were relating air pollution, chemicals, environmental contaminants that are affecting the main NCD disease like heart attack, depression, or even obesity, and others. I mean, even diabetes. So it's just that WHO found out that, and it's not surprising to say that 25% of our health, of our disease, is related to the environmental risk factors. So an environmental risk, and then WHO has also estimated that even 13 million deaths could be prevented every year. That 25 million and 25% is equivalent to around 13 million. And especially children under 5 are the main victims. And these are, because once you are sick from the children when you are small, then it's going to be a long-term impact. And suffering most are people in the low-income countries, especially women and children. Now, because of that, the evolution that has gone through from communicable to non-communicable disease and so on and so forth, today we are talking about air pollution is shaping our health. This is my first argument. And then because of that, we are really far behind in terms of SDG, especially SDG 3, 7, and 11. They have estimated that about 7 million deaths caused by air pollution alone. And this is about 16% of the NCD that we are facing today is attributed to the air pollution. Whether they are the ambient air pollution or the outdoor air pollution, and especially in many countries for the poorer, and then in the remote, and then probably the rural areas, the household air pollution. And then you're talking about this is coupled with the fact that most of the healthcare facilities and homes do not have electricity. So they have to use traditional fossil fuel to heat and also for cooking as well. So you're talking about 90% of the world exposed to unhealthy air openly in the outdoor air pollution. 2.4 billion people still lack access to clean cooking. So then you will see, for example, like, okay, my apology that my geographical understanding and then my in-depth understanding of the Africa situation is far behind. So in this matter, you need to enlighten me. I need your also guidance how serious it is. But I can see that Africa not very far behind from my region, Southeast Asia region, or the Western Pacific region in terms of the PM 2.5. So you will see that most of the countries in Africa having dark green, and this is similar to India and then China and then a few others. So you're talking about huge, many countries in Africa has air pollution level, PM 2.5 above the WHO guidance. And you will see the table down there. The guidance now is putting into 5 microgram per meter cube. And this is almost very difficult. And you will see later on that even 5 microgram per meter cube, this is not really a safe level, meaning that air pollution itself, in whatever concentration, will affect human being in different ways, in different time, probably short and also medium term. But you will see on the right bar chart there, so you're talking about a huge difference between, say, some countries in Africa itself. But you will see that many of the countries are far beyond the 15 microgram, which is, the 10 microgram, which is tier 4, which is the current guideline of WHO. Otherwise, we are talking about most of the countries in Africa cannot meet the WHO guidance. So you are talking about comparatively, Globally, there are about 32. Um, uh, the concentration of PM 2.5 is about 32 microgram per meter cube annual average. But if you will see that Southeast Asia, where I'm working now, is very high, it's 44, and in the Eastern Mediterranean about 43, Western Pacific is 33, and then Africa about 33. So you are we are about the same with Western Pacific, and then Southeast Asia, maybe except Europe and Americas itself. Now you will see that, however, in terms of the NCD impacts caused by air pollution, then the Africa is bearing bigger burdens, especially with regard to acute lower respiratory infection, and then you are talking about a stroke, and then ischemic, heart disease, and then finally the lung cancer. So these are the major impacts, and then this is Africa is probably attributing higher death or mortality to air pollution than even Southeast Asia and Western Pacific region. So this is related to even the equity itself. So more than that, recently we had a big meeting in New Delhi. You will see the picture of Professor Mala Rao. She is the chair of the Regional Expert Group on Environment and Health Climate Change for WHO CRO. And she found out that even air pollution is linked to dementia, for example. This is, to me, is also shocking. Air pollution is affecting growth rate, the low birth weight. And he said that in reality, adverse effects of air pollution can be observed at very low concentration with no observable threshold below which exposure can be considered safe. So you're talking about the life cost from child to adolescent to adulthood, and then to old age. And this we have impacts due to air pollution at the different level and different group of people. And then the worst is the fact that air pollution is linked to inequality. It's a silent killer. So you're talking about women, children, people in the poor environment. So in west slum areas where you have very, very poor air quality, you're talking about very, very poor water quality. Drinking water is extremely scarce and also contaminated. But at the same time, they're also exposed to various types of chemicals at home. So you're talking about the impacts just now that I show you just now is extremely affecting the most vulnerable population of people in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and other regions as well. Now, you're talking about some work has been done in our WHO. There are also work being done with regard to the at various global level and then country level and so. I don't want to elaborate further on this. Same with the household air pollution. But then, and there are also some work at country level. I can see there's some work, for example, in Ghana. You have done good work with regard to air pollution, with regard to energy, to urban health initiative, health sector capacity building, community outreach, adaptation of sectoral analytical tools. You also have done the regional capacity building on health and economy impact assessment and so on and so forth. So I am sure not only Ghana, but also other countries in Africa. Now, we know that there is air pollution, but at the same time, we are talking about climate change or climate crisis is also shaping our health. The sixth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change highlight the fact that from the pre-industrial time, the temperature or the temperature of the Earth is about 1.1 degrees, and leading to 1.5 in the next couple of years, probably by 2030 or 2050, it could be as rich as 5 point. And every incremental temperature increase will intensify multiple and concurrent hazard. So there is widespread and rapid changes in the atmosphere, in the ocean, in the cryosphere and biosphere, and then affecting many weather and climate extremes in every region across the globe. This has led to widespread adverse impacts and related losses and damage to nature and people. Sixth assessment report mentioned about unprecedented and potentially irreversible damage and impact caused by climate change. So you're talking about the past 5 years has been the hottest, and I was told that this year is also the hottest that we have ever recorded for decades with regard to temperature. Sea level rise has nearly tripled compared to 1901 to 1971. Virtually certain that hot extreme, including heat wave, more frequent and more intense since 1950. So this is, you can read that in the chapter 7 of the working group 2 of the IPCC, discussing about the whole chapter is talking about relating climate change and health. And then you will see about 67 times in that report mentioned about air pollution, meaning that air pollution and climate change are so related to each other. Whatever you do with regard to air pollution will definitely affect both short and also long-term consequences caused by the climate change impacts. You will see that Africa is among the regions in the world that have almost very highly vulnerable to climate change impacts. So almost very dark red in many parts of Africa. So, and again, my apology, I'm not able to identify the name of countries because of my ignorance about the geography here. But then I can see that huge parts of Africa has very highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. And this is extremely worrying with regard to that. And the issues about climate change and health is about the cascading effects. Many direct and indirect effects of climate change pose multiple threat to human health and well-being, can occur simultaneously, resulting in compounding, that means accumulating, and cascading. Cascading means you're talking about, for example, I give you the example here, chronic disease such as lung disease, chronic COPD in asthma, and other comorbidities, a weak immune system, you are also old, and then specifically maybe woman, community, and then passive smoking as well, you are smoking, and air pollution as well, you live in the air pollution, and childhood immunization is very low. So these are all the confining factors towards the climate change impacts. So although, for example, like, and especially in regions like Africa and Asia, this particular hazard has already been causing substantial increase in mobility and morbidity due to respiratory illness. So you're talking about air pollution, climate change, and the confounding factor is very much related to the what do you call it, the respiratory illnesses, and including lung infection, and then probably a little bit of cancer and a few others as well. So the relationship between the air pollution, climate change, and health is very clear. The burning of fossil fuel, the major cause of CO2 emission, is the main cause of PM 2.5, nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compound, carbon monoxide, and SO2 will all affect the climate and air quality and contribute to chronic cardiorespiratory disease. At the global level for PM 2.5, annual premature death due to climate change were projected to be 55,000 to 215,000 in 2030 and 2100 respectively. So strategies to reduce air pollution therefore contribute to global warming mitigation. That means if you do anything on air pollution, good for health and also good for the climate change impacts, especially with regard to the they call it short-lived pollutant, or CLPS, short-lived climate pollutant. Now, policies to reduce air pollution offer a win-win strategy to both health and climate. Lower level of air pollution results in better cardiovascular disease and respiratory health of population in both and the long term. Reducing ambient and air pollution can also reduce emission of CO2 and short-lived climate pollutants such as black carbon particles and methane, therefore contributing to the near and long-term mitigation of climate change. So meaning that it's a double barrel. That means you do on climate change or you do on air pollution, you're also doing good for the climate change, you're also doing good for the health of the population. So well-designed climate change policies in sectors such as energy, transportation, agriculture will provide a win-win opportunities for climate change mitigation, improving air quality, and definitely long-term reducing the NCD. So early warning system on a system climate sensitive health outcomes such as respiratory disease is very necessary. That can come together with the air pollution and climate change. Now, there are many countries who has provided good examples. One is access to to make sure that all houses, all healthcare facilities in Africa should have 100% access to electricity. And the way forward is toward green energy supply. And there are, when I was about 10, 15, 20 years ago, nobody believed about the renewable energy that we see today. Today, almost every household can get access to renewable energy, to solar energy. Every hospital should have access to green energy and energy that can reduce emission, that can be good in terms of climate. I give an example. For example, there are many hospitals now. Not this is example is in Nepal, but many hospitals now, even in the Pacific, that utilize solar energy to run the operation of the hospital and healthcare facilities, meaning that the operational cost of the hospital is reduced. The long term, the carbon footprint of the hospital is reduced, and even like leading to zero emission and so on and so forth. And this is very practical. When I was in Fiji, before I come to New Delhi, I took a boat, and this is a small boat. The right hand side, the picture of a boat, and this boat has a solar panel on top of his boat, and that solar panel become good shady for that guy. But at the same time, that solar panel is connected to a battery that store the energy from the solar, and then he's using a laptop to know the weather condition of the sea, the GPS of the area. He also can light up one bulb there, and then many other facilities. And I asked him, "What is your qualification?" No, he just have basic qualification, but he was able to see one boat in Canada. He was working in Canada, that found out that a simple technology like solar panel here can run his boat, and then because of this, he's able to reduce using diesel to run his boat, because some of the power to use to run his boat is using from the solar energy. I met a few very young architects. Now the architecture design is about design for the environment. And this hospital is not in Europe. This is in Africa, I was told. And they were saying that this is about climate resilient healthcare facilities, innovation, young scientists, young architect can introduce very innovative concept of good green hospital. So architecture is never neutral. It's either useful or it can be hurtful. So there are many hospitals now I have seen, like, you don't realize it is hospital. It is beautiful. It is connected with the environment, with the nature, with the fact that it is green, and also utilizing solar energy to run the entire hospital and care facilities. So the way forward is my last slide, is to create a win-win strategy. And I think whichever you do on air pollution will definitely improve the climate. Whatever you do, mitigation and adaptation with climate, you also will give so much benefit to the people and the environment. Pursuing a mitigation pathway compatible with warming of 1.5 degrees with associated cleaner air, avoided extreme event, improved food security and nutrition, could result in 152 million fewer premature deaths worldwide between 2020 and 2100. And this is, many of these can happen in Africa. Reaching the Paris Agreement could result in annual reduction of 1.18 million air polluted related deaths, meaning that reaching the Paris Agreement for climate change also reduce the deaths caused by air pollution. Given the overlap of sources of greenhouse gases and co-pollutants in energy systems, strategies that pursue greenhouse gas emission reduction and improvement in energy efficiency hold significant potential co-benefit through air pollution emission reduction. So these two has to work together. That means working this is the co-benefit function, and then this will provide opportunity for many countries in Africa to apply for grant, GCF grant or GCF support in support of climate change mitigation through air pollution improvement plan. So air quality improvement alone can substantially offset or most likely exceed mitigation costs at the societal level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nasir, for the wonderful presentation. And what I'll say, a very brilliant one with so many take-home messages. I really appreciate your presentation. You started from a very important topic of disease origin. You link it to adaptation. You link it to adaptation and to the natural and genetic factors with genetic compliance. You have been able to highlight the environmental, how environment shape our health. You also went ahead and talked about the pollution on health, and also the concentration of the particulate matters based on the air. You also bring about how the African air pollution shortfall of the WHO guideline, and also how it is that climate change impacts Africa in general. You have been able also to explain to us the health impact of air pollution across almost everybody, where the child, the adolescent, the adults were not being spared. And we have been able to conclude your slide with a very good way forward, whereby by giving example how the local boat pan use clean energy, and how a own architectural design, a climate compliance building through innovation, and also how the African countries can be able to benefit from the grant on air quality improvement. And all this one summit up, you give us a very huge research gap where we can be able to elaborate our understanding on air quality and climate change, the results of climate change. And maybe there will be a question for you to respond it, and we should be able to appreciate once more. And immediately after the question and answer session, we should be able to allow the senior executive members of the organization to make 2 or 3 comments or so. And also, there is a request about the slide, which we'll be able to, maybe if you can be able to share with us, for us to learn more from it. So if you have your question, please indicate by raising your hand, and then we should allow them. Although before going to that, we need to apologize for the absence of the second speaker, who was not able to be here for a health reason. So we wish him a speedy recovery. So if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand through the action button, and then we'll come to you. Question to the audience, please, from the audience. Observation, contribution.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Umar.
Yeah, go ahead, Regina. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to our speaker for such an insightful presentation. It's touched me so much that I just want to be careful I don't sound emotional, because I believe that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So the question I've been asking myself whenever I hear things about climate change, air pollution, is how can I, as an individual, contribute to cleaner air, contribute to solving this climate change issue? Just, I think this week or last week, I read about Clean Air Fund contributing about $2 billion to promote clean air in Pakistan, but the situation has not changed. And so the question I've been asking myself, as I said, is how can we as individuals contribute to cleaner air and in solving this climate change issue. That's something that I think I'll be very happy to hear from people and how we can commit. Yes, the policymakers, we are looking at them, but I believe that as a little drop of water make a mighty ocean, in our own way, we can also do something. At times when I drive in my own city, Kumasi, the fumes from vehicles, this one, as individuals, we can also do something about that. So that is what I want to challenge all of us, that we should do something in our own way, and if we decide to do something in our own way, we'll be able to also bring the change. And then we can also be advocates. AfriHealth members, when we've been able to really do something in our own way, can come together and be advocates on the continent, in our communities, to really promote cleaner air. Thank you very much, and back to you, Chair and Speaker, if you have any comments on what I've just
said. Dr. Nancy, did you understand her question? She wants to know
Yes,
how an individual
I
can...
think,
yeah, all right.
I think I can capture most of the question. I mean, I cannot agree more than what the Dr. Georgina mentioned just now. I mean, I really agree. It's the whole thing is almost like going back to individual household and also individual person. How can we contribute, or how can we play our role with regard to addressing the air pollution, and also and in the long run provide the service to the climate change work. Now, as I mentioned, I did not elaborate slightly detail just now. It's just that if one of the slides I mentioned about the air pollution itself come from probably three. One is the fact that this is the ambient air pollution. That means these are the air pollution that are generated and then emitted and then exposed outdoor. That means the ambient air. But equally important is the fact that, especially in many developing countries, and especially also in the poor setting, especially in rural areas, is the household air pollution. And this is about the household air pollution, mostly related to the improper cooking system. And those exposed extremely badly are the women, pregnant, and also younger, babies, like below 5 children. So this is where, when come to Dr. Georgina intervention just now, that these are the very, very basic intervention that we can play at the household or even individual level. I have seen innovative work, especially like clean stove, ventilation that comes together with that we reduce exposure of pregnant women and elderly women to indoor air pollution or the household air pollution. But as you rightly also say, that sometimes the understanding is the advocacy need to be done. So meaning that in Africa, for example, the government should have a systematic program to enhance not only the knowledge but also the technology that will provide clean air for cooking. I mean, from cooking, because the impacts on the women and the children is tremendous. Researchers in Africa is definitely encouraged, or probably need to produce local data, but we cannot wait for data until we do action. So, but because we know that this is very real, and this is very very scary. I mean, in the sense that this affect the most vulnerable population. Now, individually also, I have seen. This is where I give you the example about the the fisherman just now. He has a boat. It's a small boat. I ride his boat. I saw the solar panel, and he just tied the solar panel on his boat using local string. But his understanding about the fact that he said that he can get return from his investment from the solar boat of solar panel is, I think, within 2 or 3 years he doesn't have to rely very much on the diesel, which is more polluting, and then this is not climate friendly fuel, for example, for his boat. So individual again. So you're talking of individual. You're talking about the market system now is you're talking about so many. I have also been to remote area where you can buy solar panel that you can purchase for your house, meaning that access to energy, to green energy at the rural remote areas is possible or is feasible. I'm not really sure in Africa, but I am telling you that many Asian countries, they have access to green energy, I mean green solar panels that they were able to run the household needs for energy or for electricity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Nasser. Any more question? One more question, then before the time is coming to anyone. George, any more question?
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for the presentation, Doctor. My name is George Oriengatum, and I'm from Uganda. Well, you really elaborate air pollution and climate change. However, I still get problems, especially with the slide that you showed of countries that have not reported data on what they are doing or what is being done, climate change, health, and air pollution. But I also want you to, if you analyze that slide very well, you'll know that most of the countries that you projected from that have either equipment or the technology that is required to collect baseline data regarding air pollution, PM05, and they are able to have this data. So I think moving forward, as we plan to respond to all this, we also need to adapt to technology technology improvement in terms of enabling us to collect data on climate change, but also a mitigation measure. For example, the body that you're showing having a solar panel on a boat, which was using. Yes, but if you go to policies that are still don't promote the solar energy, I mean, a country imports solar panels, but still there's taxation on it. And this increases prices of such commodities, which are supposed to be acting as a mitigation measure. What's your take on those two? Thank you. Over.
No, I agree with you, Dr. Josh. I mean, because I have limited time, and if you were to have a good discussion, it has to come with the not only the environmental policy, but with fiscal policy, and then a convincing one as well. So meaning that I give you some example just now at individual level, but I have seen also this is where the country policy is, it must be conducive, attractive enough that allow industries, not only industries, but strategic sectors like transport, energy, will have the incentive to invest in green system or green energy. I mean, I really agree with you. So yes, we must have that in mind. So my apology, because I wasn't able to elaborate further about having probably regional, even like from regional policy to national policy to even subnational policy about this. And I'm convincing enough. Convincing mean because I just came back from Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka had a big challenge with the economic progress, I mean, last couple of years. But I've seen one big, huge company that export their products outside Sri Lanka, a huge one. You're talking about 5,000 employees, more than five, nearly 10,000 employees by the factory alone. And you will believe, you will very surprised to see a very young entrepreneur, very young CEO, a manager of that plant, who rely 100% on solar energy. 100%, not even 90%. You're talking about 100%. And I said, wow, how do you get into this? I think this is where I was showing you the architecture just now, that we need young, innovative, creative, who believe that investment in environment can bring rapid economic growth as well. So I asked this company, how long will you get the return to the investment that you make on the solar panel or solar energy? He said about 8 years. And which means that on the 9th year, the entire plant, which has 9,000 or probably more than that employees, and exporting their products outside Sri Lanka, is able to sustain the business by not going into fossil fuel or probably a climate unfriendly energy system. So I really agree with you that you need to get a good policy, and this probably in Africa. I mean, I'm sure this is not the first time. Probably you have gone through with various discussion at the regional and probably at the country level on how to promote this the win-win strategy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Nasir, for the wonderful presentation. And a major take home, a major, no, please hold on. No, Augustine, please mute your microphone, Augustine. So it's the huge take home message from this presentation is you galvanize our thinking here. And we also understand that, and in the matter of achieving sustainable development goals, the presence of climate change, it is really challenging to Africa. And we shall take up from here. And we also hope.
Are you going to the office?
Augustine, please. Augustine, please unmute your microphone. So, mute your microphone, rather. So, by God's grace, we shall be able to invite you again for a wonderful presentation when time permit. I will hand over this to the executive director of the organization to say a good hi to you, and also if time permit, the president is Togali. I am talking from Uganda, western region, Neshaka, KIU. Thank you very much for having us, and over to you, Georgina, the executive director. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Umar. He has been our climate change focus person, and he's been very helpful to us. This is the second climate change webinar that we've had. And we want to continue to have such a series so that in our own way would also contribute to reversing the challenge that we are going through. We are all at risk, and therefore we need to really advocate, change our own behavior, and also advocate for a very good climate that will really help promote our health. For us as AfriHealth members, we know that our focus is to improve the quality of health of our population, which we are part of. And so anything that will really not promote quality health for us is something that AfriHealth looks at, finds a way that will be able to deal with that. And this is one of the ways. We call upon all of you not only to look at what policymakers can do for us, but what we as individuals can also do. At our personal levels, at our institutional levels, in our families and households, our communities, let's all really do our best so that we can address this call it the next pandemic, let's really reverse that so that we can live longer and then serve the purpose for which we are on this. Thank you very much, Dr. Nasir, for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, you've been the only speaker.
Can Elsie talk, the president, or we can call it? We can call it now.
Yes, and see what we can also do together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Without you, we wouldn't have had such a successful webinar. We are very grateful to you all. We will share the recording not only with registered participants, but also with all other people, our community, and we will encourage you to also share with others so that we can all work together. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this work. I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you and bye. And thank you very much for this. Thank you, goodbye.
Dr. Nasir and Dr. Umar, please stay behind and let's get started.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, your connection is very bad. I cannot hear you.
Please stay behind.
Thank you, Dr. Umar.
No, Dr. Nasir, don't leave. Please stay behind. Please wait.
Oh, okay, that's one more, two more minutes. Few more minutes.
Okay, okay, okay.
All right, thank
because
you.
yeah, okay, I can stay here.
Umar and Georgina, please, I think I would need to have a connection with you later. If you could share your email, I would share my message. Thank you.
I don't know who I didn't check the person who just spoke.
Yes, Robert. The first, okay. I'm over there.
Robert, please, you can send
Yes.
a mail to info and then Winifred will, okay, Robert, okay.
Yes.
You don't have our email addresses? Are you in the AfriHealth community?
Yes, I'm in the community.
I send in my email. I share my email with him so that I can communicate.
Yes, I have seen your email.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. If I can have yours too, Georgina. Otherwise, Dr. Nasir, thank you so much for the presentation. Please. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Have you seen my email?
I have seen the email.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
All right. So the other participants can leave. Winifred, you can exit them so that we can have a short discussion with Dr. Nasir. Hello, Winifred.
Yeah, I can hear, but very vague.
Hello.
No, the very poor connection.
Is it from my end?